So I've got dozens of partially done projects, just things that I suddenly had a whim and decided I'm gonna paint a Ford emblem on our garage wall. So I'm working on that. We'll just paint out all these edges with the wall color. But so that's something that I try to get to every day and never get to. We also have this toolbox that I'm trying to organize. So I'm marking out my tools on this packing foam, which is something we used to do in the military that I really liked, having nice organized tools. So every now and then I just grab it and do a little bit. So I'm gonna do this one today, this morning. But the wine rack, that's something I've been wanting to do. And so I'll show you a couple pictures of the style that I want to do. I want to do a restaurant style wine rack, kind of decorative restaurant style. And so I've been looking at this and trying to figure out how I'm going to build it, but haven't worked a lot on it. And was talking to my friend Joe, and he said that he had some, that he had done one. And so I'll show you a picture of that. And he also sent me his dimensions that he used on building his. So I used his dimensions 90% and tweaked it a little bit so it'll fit in my space the way I want it to. And so last night I did a lot of cutting. I figured out my measurements of how tall I want it to be and how that's gonna work out. And did a little drawing where I was trying to figure out how many rungs am I gonna need. And so last night I cut out my long pieces that are gonna stand up tall. And I cut out a whole bunch of these, what I'm calling the rungs that are gonna hold the wine bottles up. So as I'm putting it together, I'll show you, well, in the pictures we showed you, you'll see how it works. Nice how this foam is put together in layers, so you can kind of get hold of one layer and tear through the thickness that you want. I had already pulled this one out. Go ahead and grab it. Pull it out. So, there we go. You get the idea. Now it needs to be a little deeper. Might be a little bit of room for some kind of small tool around the edges. Screwdrivers, there's still a little bit of room. Enough for today. Top floor is our socket kit. We just took the hinges off the box and put the box in there for an organizer. But we saved the hinges so we could put them back in again if we wanted to just put it back together and carry it somewhere. As I start to put the what Joe was calling the ladders, the pieces where the rungs go together, I'm gonna create a big square on the floor, so I can just lean my just put my parts right up against the corner. Tuck in my upright right up against that board. I'm going to use some wood glue. So I know my first rung. It's really difficult to just use a tape measure and measure 4 inches every single time all the way up the whole ladder. So I cut 2 little 4-inch pieces of wood that I can just set up against the last rung. Grab a new rung. And if I rest it right up against those every single time, I'll have the same measurement every single time. Little delay here. Looking pretty good. Now let's do a whole bunch of them. Got all my ladders built. The ones on the end just have the rungs. The rungs are on one side on these end pieces, and on both sides on the internal pieces. Okay, this thing is excitingly cool. So let's see how it came out. What do you think? Hope a wine bottle will fit. Boom. Wow. I look forward to installing this now. I'm gonna run it upstairs and put it where it belongs. Thank you, Joe, for your help. This is the kind of wine rack we wanted. I wish it could be just a little bit wider, but the wall that I'm putting it on, I can't go 1 segment wider. While I'm working on building this, a friend called. His name is RK, and he lives in a neighborhood that when I was a builder before we started doing this, I was working on coordinating the construction of that neighborhood, and he was one of the residents. He has this great German Shepherd that's really friendly and well trained. So he called me up and he said, "Todd, you need to start raising some goats." And so that's reminding me it's time to get on board and get these things going, get the other things going with livestock and stuff. We have ordered some chickens. We've ordered chickens for egg laying and chickens for meat. So all of that should be here in 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll get started on that. But it sounds like we really need to get going on the goats and stuff too. I have a lot of brush that I want some goats to be eating it and clearing some areas. So that's, 2 birds with 1 stone. Thank you, RK. love having this big, huge wine rack. I really like the style, but wow, it looks like we don't hardly have any wine at all. So this room is a fun room, the glass door, and then open up and there's all the wine.